Hello, everyone. My name is Nick Infernus, and after much delay, it is finally time for another comic book review. Now, this one and the one I'm going to be doing after this, I've been meaning to make for a while, but school started up last week and things just got in the way. So let's finally talk about Suicide Squad. Now, I heard pretty bad things about this movie going in, but I want to keep an open mind. It's not bad, but I would also hesitate to call it good. And I find that a big problem with this movie is that it's just not very engaging. I'll get to why that isn't just. Let's just go over the very quick pros. And the main pros that I find is that there are at least a couple likable characters, mainly with Rick Flag and Deadshot, who do have nice dynamics with other characters, mainly with Rick Flag and the relationship with his girlfriend, whose name I forgot, who's the host of The Enchantress, and then Deadshot with his daughter. They have nice dynamics with those characters, and they are pretty likable because of that. But those are the only characters that I even seem well, which is unfortunate because I do like Harley Quinn. I am pretty familiar with Killer Croc, and the other villains in this movie, or at least the other members of the Suicide Squad, there are things about them that should be interesting. But this is where the problem starts to come in. I find the biggest problem here is that it introduces a lot of characters and it doesn't give us enough time to, get to know all of them, to really care about them. They have scenes here and there, but it's like it still doesn't do I would be as hard on this movie that as I would be with Eternals because that movie has half an hour more to do what it wants to do and it still fails. This still fails, but I am willing to be more light on it because it is a shorter movie, only being like 2 hours long, and I'm pretty sure this is like the second shortest movie in the DCEU, only rivaling Justice League. And yes, I am pronouncing it with an O to distinguish it from the version that's obviously better that we all know about. But like in general, when it comes to like Harley Quinn, Killer Croc, his name, all those characters, even Deadshot, we don't get enough time to care about them, and because of that, it makes it hard to care about what's going on. Because like their characterizations and abilities are interesting, but their personalities aren't developed enough to be at the same level as their characterizations and abilities. So that was a very mixed aspect for me because like I like the characters in concept, but in execution it doesn't do enough. And that is the action. The action here should be cool, but this is one of the few action movies that I've seen where it's just dull. This movie has dull action. Even Thor the Dark World, which is probably the one movie in the MCU that I would compare this to, even that had some pretty decent action at different points. This, until the final battle, it was kind of hard to find an action scene that wasn't just guys shooting eyeball monsters or whatever those things were from the Enchantress. Now, those 2 points were pretty much mixed aspects, which weird to see mixed stuff from me, where it's like good stuff that wasn't executed well at all. As for like the mostly negative stuff, the Enchantress has no personality. I'm just gonna straight up say it. She has no personality to speak of other than being evil. And the characterization of the Joker, I know he's supposed to be crazy, but here he feels more awkward than, crazy. And I think a good amount of that, well, I'm not going to blame like Jared Leto for that at all because, well, for all I know, that's just probably how the director act. Which I really do hope that David Ayer gets to make his own Zack Snyder's Justice League with this movie at some point. Like if we can get David Ayer's Suicide Squad, because from what I hear, he was kind of screwed over by the executives. But I'll save that discussion for when it eventually possibly happens. But in general, while I do like some characters, there's just a lot weighing this one back. And I don't have a seal of garbage yet, but this is probably the first movie that would get it odd zone. This is a personal 1 out of 5 that I'm giving because there are some decent aspects of this movie, but they're weighed back by just how dull and forgettable a lot of it is. So it's like I wanted to enjoy it. I wanted to say that maybe people were, over exaggerating how bad the movie is. And while, like I said, I hesitate to call it bad, but I also hesitate to call it good. This is not what I would consider to be a good movie at all. It had potential, but the execution just didn't work out. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the review. If you did, you know what to do. I'm not going to bore you with all that generic crap or stuff, whichever one you prefer me to say. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.